to work our industries better than we can do. And in the household too, minds greater than our own, voices with just one tone, telling us what to do for entertainment to dance. Like the robots dance, dance. Like the robots dance, dance. Instructions through like we've been taught to do, and the machines as well follow what do they tell, just what they choose. And so given minds of their own, one day the roles could change, robots till human slaves dance. Like the robots dance, 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 dance.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Good evening, fans of fantastic films. Welcome once again to the Drive-In Asylum late movie. I'm Bill Van Ryn from Fanzine Drive-In Asylum, and in the other box is Sam Panico from BNS About Movies. And he's looking very sinister in black gloves.
Yeah, welcome. I am so excited to watch A Blade in the Dark this week. It is Giallo January, so what better movie to watch it with tonight, right?
There's always room for giallo.
There is.
Well, those gloves really kind of look like something you would clean off your windshield with and not murder
Yeah,
somebody.
they're my jogging gloves. They're the best I can do for black gloves. I should have black gloves and a switchblade and a mask at this point, but I don't. But
Mike Justice says this movie should be called People Getting Killed with a Box Cutter.
it should be. I love that scene in the trailer where the box cutter's like click, 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 and it's popping up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. It had been a really long time since I watched this movie, and I jumped around in it the other day and was reminded of how utterly nonsensical and wonderful A Blade in the Dark is. I mean, there's a story and it makes sense, I guess.
It's funny because for the longest time I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like Lamberto Bava, and you know what? I've really come around, and I really do like him. So I can admit it. It's funny. Someone said this week. One of my friends on Facebook was reviewing this movie, and he's like, "It's funny that Mario Bava is like the greatest director ever, and his son's just this like creepy little gorehound that like makes these like really like either really gory movies or TV movies, you know." And like
the next generation is always slightly different, so
yeah,
he learned from the best.
Yeah, he started working with his father way back too, like in the in the mid '60s. So he had a ton of assistant directing by the time that it came. This is only his second movie, so you know he had some time to learn on the sets. Obviously, this movie he really credits his time as assistant director on Tenebrae for the look of this film, which is very obvious. It looks a lot like it, but that's not a bad movie to say. I mean, if you're going to steal from a movie, I mean, go for it. That's the right one.
We had a couple of things to talk about before we get into A Blade in the Dark, I guess. One of them being your new podcast. Let's talk about that in the first segment this time.
Yeah, the new podcast. It's BNS About Movies. Go figure. Which you can find anywhere you find podcasts and YouTube. But it's everywhere. And the new episode just went up Friday. And a lot of people guessed what it was. Tried to guess what it was. The guess was it was two movies about transportation.
Right.
From 1979, and they are the Airport 1979, the Concorde, and Concorde Affair 79, which are two really. It's nothing but high quality movies on the podcast. So super excited about it. My wife said it's great, so that's good. And she actually gave me really great feedback. Because previous episodes, it sounded like I was reading. She said you need to be more excited. This sounds like NPR. So it sounds less like NPR now, more exciting. And I'll be teasing the next one by midweek, so you can kind of see it. Every Friday at noon, a new episode will drop, and there are several done already. And if you have a request for one, let me know.
That music you use makes you sound like a hipster.
Mm-hmm.
A Tarantino wannabe.
I found somebody that literally had all their songs were named for Sergio Martino movies, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So it felt like the right song for it. So
I do like it. I'm just teasing you. I like it.
Oh, that's good. And wait, I can tease what the next episode is. I can't remember myself what it is, so let me look it up on my little. Everything goes through Spotify, which Spotify for podcasters, which is super convenient. Next week's movie is also Italian, but it is not a giallo and not a horror movie nor a gothic.
So you're only doing one movie a week?
Sometimes two if they tie together. But yeah, only one a week. But and I try to keep them to like 10, 15 minutes tops because I want to sell you on the movie. So many podcasts are like, it's not a bad thing, but so many podcasts are like 2 hours. And I kind of wanted to do something where if like you were running errands to the store and you just like were driving around real quick, just something quick to listen to and get you excited about watching another Italian movie, another
I
movie,
think
not
it's
just
great.
Italian movies.
I
Thanks.
really like your podcast a lot. It's just like a little slice of Sam on the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted to do and like be really excited about it. Like as you can hear, I put a clip up today on my socials of this airport episode, and it's just me talking about John Davidson's character in Airport 79 marries himself, and like how many people. There's the weirdest cast in Airport 79. Like it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like Charo is top billed, and she's in the movie for literally 3 minutes. But what a great three! If you're gonna get 3 minutes of Charo, you're getting full tilt. You're getting
Yeah.
200% Charo. You're not getting like she's not gonna slack off for that time period. But yeah, John Davis is in it, and I saw him once in Oklahoma at the Civic Light Opera, and I've never seen people cheer, boo. I mean, when Curly got killed, because Curly was the only character they liked. Um, yeah, and that's the other thing too. I saw Tracy say it. Like, I really don't want to BS about like. There's a lot of talking. Like, how was your week? And not that we don't do that in this. This is a different experience. But like for a podcast talking about movies, oh my god, no, there's a killer coming to get me. Oh no, God.
Cubby, put that thing down. Have you gone crazy?
He's like, you are a woman, Cubby. You are a woman. That would make more sense when people see the movie tonight. Yeah,
Spoiler
thanks, Bill.
alert. We've
But
been
yeah,
doing
I
movies
think
like
there's,
we've been
huh?
doing movies like that on the podcast lately with like these gender surprises. It's like we have
Yeah,
an
it's
agenda.
our theme this year. Yeah, this is the 13th episode of the podcast already, Bill. I got to tell you, if you know me and movies that I like, the next 6 episodes are literally movies I talk about all the time. So you can probably guess what they are. They're like ones that I love like more than any movie. I was trying to find ones that I could talk about without a lot of research. Do you know what I mean? And movies
Right
that
off the
I
top of
that
your head.
yeah. And also ones that like I think we've shown all of them except for one. Um but I I'll just say it. Pin's one of them, and I love talking about Pin. I was like, how have I got this many episodes in without talking about Pin? A movie that I'm still shocked is not on Blu-ray. Like how is Vinegar Syndrome not put out Pin yet? It blows my mind.
Yeah, Pin's really I think it's really good. You know my obsession with mannequin movies.
Oh yeah. I love the idea the, the part of it where it's like the dad before the dad if you didn't watch it on the show, spoiler warning, before the parents get killed, when the dad realizes that he has to take Penn away from his son because his son has become way too obsessed by it. But also there's the scene in the beginning where the nurse is having sex with Penn. Like it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie. It's just like thrown in there. And it's so fucking weird. I love it so much that it just like happens. And you're like, oh well, this is the world we're in. Do you know what I mean? Like Pin is just like such a strange, like,
Ah,
like it's from another universe, and that's why I like it.
Chris Fasonic had to bring up I Dismember Mama. There's one we haven't done on the show.
No, we haven't done that either. Oh
That's
man,
one of my favorites.
Leif said when he was a kid, he stole the main theme music from Concord Airport 79 for a Star Wars movie called Fire Fury. I would, oh, and he put it a YouTube link. Thank you. I will 100% watch that. Man,
Absolutely.
a lot of people made great suggestions for there will be definitely a Vansploitation episode and there will be a roller skate themed episode
You know, that's where
after
my
this.
mind went was to the
Oh,
Vansploitation. I wondered if it was the
oh.
van, but the van doesn't have a sequel, does it?
No, but Super Van and the Van are both really great. Like I love Super Van a lot. So
I get them mixed up. I really don't remember which is which.
that's why I wrote about them so that I could refer to my write-ups later. I'm just documenting things now before my eventual senility from wrestling for so long, so I can be like, oh yeah, I remember that because I wrote about it.
Lee wants to know when Chris is going to be a co-host.
Oh,
Oh,
He should be a co-host again. He's never co-hosted though, right? He's never been on the show.
no. AC
No.
Nicholas has been on the show, but Chris
Yeah.
Vasonic has never been on the show.
Yeah.
One
And
day, Chris.
John guessed right though for the episode, correct? Uh, who guessed correctly? Someone did. I can't remember who for this week's episode. I can't remember. Someone did guess correctly that it was Concord and Airport 79. The other thing that I love, you'll hear it on the episode, but the last thing I'll say before we move on, I love that the pilot of Airport 79 is George Kennedy. Like his career is bonkers. Like he went from being the ground crew guy to being like in charge of part of the airport to suddenly like he learns how to fly. And then they also like his wife was in 75 and his son, and then they just kill off his wife, send his son to college, and now he's like hanging out with Alain DeLeon and sleeping with prostitutes and saying the craziest lines. You know, my favorite line is the lady's like, "You're the most sexist pilots in the industry," and he's like, "Yeah, they don't call it the cockpit for nothing, baby." It's such a weird movie. Who are we supposed to be behind in it?
Well, cockpits are places where people can talk filthy. I've seen
I guess.
Airplane.
Oh yeah. If you do you like gladiator movies?
I do like gladiator movies a lot.
That's one of my favorite lines in a movie because like it just like there's so many. That's the great thing about Airplane is that there's such a rapid fire. It's so much better than that we had all those farce movies like Scary Movie and stuff. They're fine, they're cute, but like Airplane is like concentrated humor. It's like just like a barrage of stuff. My all-time favorite Airplane line is he's like when the guy who's the radar technician or what do you call it, the air traffic controller, and they're like, "What do you make of this?" He's like, "I can make a coat, a hat, a plane." Like he has like or a jaunty scarf. Like that guy's awesome. There's so many good people in it.
You also got mentioned on another slipcase.
I did. Crazy, huh? I didn't know that Severn put out the Dead one right around Christmas. And it has a quote from me on it. A significant movie, one of the first zombie movies made in color. It mostly played Southern drive-ins and Mexican cinemas before disappearing for over 40 years. And Severin used that in the sales copy. It's crazy. But yeah, the Barry Mahone movie, The Dead One, which is definitely an early zombie movie and a wild Barry Mahone movie that I like.
There's a link to Ron Ormond, isn't there?
Yeah, his wife is in it. Yeah. Anything Ron Ormond is going to hit my my radar, right?
But
The Ron
he didn't
Ormond
have
box.
anything to do with the making of the movie. It's just his wife stars
Yeah,
in
his
it.
wife's in it. Yeah, I don't believe he had anything to do with it.
I
So
was hoping there'd be more.
no, I do have the Ron Ormond box set, and I recommend getting it if anyone hasn't yet spent that much money to get it. It's definitely worth it.
So I wanted to tell you that you know how we watched Unhinged on the program.
Yeah, I'm
last
super
week?
excited about this. Yeah.
I watched the remake of Unhinged that came out in 2017. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Well,
How,
it's
how is
really
it?
it's really just sort of like shot on video blah.
Oh,
Not that that's a terrible thing that it's shot on video, but it's really not the movie that you would hope it would be, being a remake of Unhinged. That said, I don't mean that it didn't look professional, because most of the time it was professional. There was a very strange sort of like soap opera-esque audio quality to the dialogue. It sounded like they were on the set of a soap opera, but the makeup effects were amazing. It was just a great gore in the movie and some pretty intense scenes, but it just didn't work. Like they changed the plot a little bit. It doesn't end
uh,
with, this. There is sort of a gender surprise at the end of it, like the original, but it's more of like I think that she's supposed to be possessed.
uh,
And that just blew it
that's
for me. I was
I
like,
don't. I've been thinking about that a lot. It's like when you've been led to believe that you're watching a movie based in reality, and they suddenly pull out like a supernatural reveal. Does that upset you?
it depends. I mean, like what
Yeah.
does the rest of the movie have? If it was the last thing in the movie, I'd be pissed. But
Yeah.
if it leads to some sort of twist, then that's okay.
Yeah, but if it's like you're 10 minutes left in the movie and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, but wait, it was always ghosts."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah,
That's not a good thing usually. It's not
yeah,
recommended. A place where that kind of thing worked was well, there's the M. Night Shyamalan thing, but I do like that movie, A Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin
uh-huh."
in the Woods. I forget what year that came out, but that
It sat on the shelf for a long time.
oh, it did?
It was on the shelf for like 2 years, which is crazy.
Wow. I just think that movie's so good. I went to see it twice in
Yeah.
theaters because I couldn't get enough of it, and I was like, "Wow." Like, when all the monsters come out at the end, you don't know where to look. There's so much stuff
Oh,
going on, and
I
it's
love
like
the scene where everybody's betting on the whiteboards, and you
yes.
just see names of monsters, and they've, like, given them these there's definitely, like, a pinhead kinda creature at one point, like, they really hit, like, a lot of stuff in it.
I love that they turn monsters into a conspiracy theory, and it's like, oh, there's this secret
I like
underground
when they
society.
cut to Japan, and they're like, "The girls all sang happy birthday to the ghost girl, and she didn't kill them," and it looks totally like Ringu. Like, it's like, "Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome." Like,
they
there's a lot
beat
of cool
it.
stuff.
Like,
Yeah,
it totally didn't work.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I that was a twist that I like because it no matter how crazy it got, it kept getting better and better. And then their secret weapon, Sigourney Weaver,
yeah,
comes out at the end. I'm like, holy shit! What else is hiding in their cabin in the woods?
yeah.
But this,
I just don't like sometimes where it's like, "Oh, by the way, like, this person didn't exist," or the other one is always like, "Oh, all I this just happened in a Tubi one. All these killers are all the same person. They're all in somebody's head." It's like Identity did the same thing, you know?
oh
It's like,
yeah,
"Oh,
that was
yeah," and you're like,
dumb.
"Yeah,
Well, Unhinged 2017. I don't know. I can't say I regret watching it, but it's just it doesn't hold a candle to the original. And one of the biggest fuck ups was the score, because the
mm,
score in the original is that creepy sort of synth thing, but this one was just way too. It was too much for the movie.
yeah,
And the cast is really good though. There's like,
yeah,
there's or four female leads instead of just three in this one. And the thing that I really didn't like about it is it started off with, why are they doing that right away? Because it was one of those sort of like, I know what you did last summer things instead. Like, they end up, this guy attacks them and they kill him,
ah,
and they're on their way to get, one of them's going to get married. They're on their way to a wedding, and they're like, well, we can't miss the wedding because this happened, so we'll just bury his body in the woods and forget about
oh,
it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's really not a thing that they would do, that people would do.
no." I think about that a lot in movies, like, when some that 'cause I've been watching a lot of giallo, and it's, like, a lot of, like, when somebody gets killed and they're, like, finding the body. And it's like, well, what do you do next? There's an episode of Doorway to Darkness, the Argento TV series, where that's the whole story. Like, a woman finds a body in the woods and is trying to convince people that she found it. And it's like, pre
Yeah.
cell phones, like, you had to walk away from it. Like, you know, how would you find your way back to it? It's a very real problem.
So did you watch anything this week that you want to rant about?
Yeah, I have three. Narrowed it down to three picks, but I'm doing if you
Three.
come to yeah, if you come to BNS about movies all month, I'm doing four or more Giallo adjacent movies a day. And these are the three I dug this week. Hitchhike. Have you ever seen that, Bill?
Franco Nero
Yeah,
and David Hess.
yeah. And Clorian Clary from Your Hunter from the Future and Moonraker. She's the girl that gets eaten by dogs in Moonraker. Um, It's really good because it's so weird because, you're used to Franco Nero being, the hero, and he's a jerk the entire time. It's really wild. He was actually acting in a movie with David Hess in Germany, and said, "Do you wanna go to Italy?" And he's like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go to Italy and act." And he's like, "I'll get you into this movie." And it's the only part of it that is far-fetched is if you were driving down a deserted highway and you saw David Hess standing there thumbing a ride, you wouldn't pick him up, would you?
No, absolutely
No.
not. Not if he was in
No.
character anyway.
Well, it's great because he's super friendly and he's nice, and he's talking about like how, boy, your husband's a real jerk, and I really wish I could get into. I really wish I had a nice wife like you. And then he turns into David Hess and just starts getting filthy. It's like, oh yeah, that's who he is. But it's pretty good, and it is mean spirited throughout, which is kind of shocking, and I really liked it. Also shot in Italy with they actually made a American gas station and American signs. So a lot of Americans that were on vacation in Rome were really dumbfounded of like, why is this restaurant here with all these American signs on it?
Really? They thought it
Yeah.
was real?
Yeah, they thought it was real. It doesn't really look like it, but I don't know, maybe you're out and about. The other movie I really like, Bill, is Copo Novente, which is Red Hot Shot. It is the only movie that was directed by Piero Zuffi, who was a opera. Uh, he was like an art director for an opera. But man, this movie is really weird. It's about let me think if I can summarize it. A guy gets shot on Wall Street. It is shot in the U.S. Businessman gets shot in Wall Street, and it turns out his family has ties to the heroin trade of New York City. And this cop's been trying to bust the family for years and hasn't been able to. Uh, Meanwhile, his daughter, who is Barbara Boucher, is
Oh,
trying to give money. Yeah, she has black hair in it too.
that's why you like it.
Yeah, but the reason I like it is suddenly there's parts of it that turn into an art movie where all the junkies like move like zombies and they're shot a lot like Night of the Living Dead. And there's a lot of scenes that are shot with like multiple like mirrored camera angles, and the soundtrack is amazing. It's not ultimately a successful movie, but it's just so strange. I think that people should definitely see it. And then the other movie I really liked, not Horror Express, but Terror Express. Have you seen that, Bill?
Remind me which one that is.
The Girl in the Sleeping Car is the other title for it.
Uh,
It is.
no, I don't think I've seen that.
Imagine if someone said, Last Stop on the Night Train wasn't upsetting enough. Could you make it more upsetting? And they said, what if we got George Eastman to write it? And he's like, I can make it more upsetting. Don't worry. And he totally did. It's it's the worst. And the best, but
How
it's real
upset
rough.
were you?
Not at all. How upset would a normal person be? They would be scandalized. They would say, "Ooh, this is the movie that I thought Saltburn would be." Like this, like how people were upset during Saltburn. Like this is the movie they think they were watching. They should check out in German Horror Sex im Nachtpress. This train is a messed up train. And when the main bad guy in it is Werner Pokath, who is the vampire killer in Bloodlust, the German movie where he's like a mosquito. He's more upsetting in this movie than he was in that. So yeah, pretty awesome.
Doesn't he drink blood out of a straw? And
Yeah, he has that little straw, and he's like, yeah, I think I liked it. The music's really good, but the really weird thing is, it's directed by the same director that made Fernando Bali, who made Treasure of the Four Crowns and Blind Man and a lot of those movies, and he's not a director you expect to make these kind of movies. He also made Nine Guests for a Crime, the giallo, but it's pretty good. I would recommend it. There's a bunch more uh, coming out on the site this week. Tomorrow is all the Argento TV episodes of Door to Darkness, which are pretty fun. They're only like 45 minutes long, 50 minutes long, and they're non. I have a weakness now for like more non-supernatural jolly, where it's like there's a like more Hitchcocky ones or more ones like The Girl Who Knew Too Much, where it's kind of like a procedural. So that's what I've been into lately. There's a whole bunch about a whole bunch. Shall we talk about A Blade in the Dark while we're at it?
well, we probably should.
Mhm. Hold on.
Lamberto Bava. This was.
Okay.
Oh, and you're prepared.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
I feel like we skipped ahead to the drink segment.
Oh no, just if we're going to talk about it, you need to have some.
It was like drinking battery acid.
It really is. But you know what? It's about looking cool, and it's about having it on your bar so that it also I like is the thing a giallo because they're drinking it in the thing And John Carpenter
Yes,
said, "Thing."
The Thing is my favorite giallo. Fight me.
Yeah, fight me. See, now you know how to post on Instagram. You've got it figured out.
No, I don't. Rob Zombie only followed me for 6 days. I don't have it figured out.
Uh, maybe we'll make next time it'll be 7.
You know, there was this movie, then after that there was Monster Shark, and then there
Yeah,
was Demons.
yeah.
Let's talk about that progression for
And before this was what Macabre before this, which is
I'm kind of
pretty
fuzzy
good.
on Macabre.
Oh well, it's got. Well, I almost spoiled the whole ending of the movie. It's got a great spoiler, you know.
Is it another
It's got
gender
something.
surprise movie?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, also, I like when he's like, it is true. Like I think because Lombardo was on the set of Bay of Blood, he picked up a lot of the elements of Bay of Blood in his movies. Where it's like, what if kids are the monsters? And what if a kid drowns another kid? You know what I mean? Like he has a lot of that kind of stuff happening in these ones. This is an interesting movie because the whole idea of it came because Sergio Martino's brother is the producer of it, and Luciano Martino, and he had this house, the huge like complex that we see for this movie, and they wrote it around the property, and that was already paid for the movie. This was written by Dardano Sacchetti and his wife, Elisa Brigante, R.I.P. She died last Saturday. Very sad. And interesting enough, Bill, this was released in August 1983 in Italy. It didn't make it to the US until June of 1986, uh, and it went straight to video.
I was
And
gonna
yeah,
say there was no theatrical run for this movie
mm, and yeah,
in the
he
States.
directed one of the movies named Delirium, not the Renato Pacelli Delirium, but yeah, Delirium Visions of Gloria is which also has George Eastman in it for about 20 seconds. Uh,
Gloria, I think I
yeah.
got your number.
Dan said, "I feel like I've seen this. Is that annoying blonde kid in another horror film?" Come on, don't talk about Bob that way. That's Bob. We'll get to him. He is in a ton, and I realized,
What
Bill,
isn't he
tonight
in?
we have shown so many of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is originally was a TV movie, and it was a 2-hour film split into 30-minute sequences. Each 30-minute sequence would end with a murder scene. If you watch the movie tonight, there's no way this movie could air it on TV, even in Italy. It is really gruesome. So it was re-edited into a feature film, and it was shot on 16 millimeter. For theatrical, it was blown up to 35. So that may be some of the look of it's a little weird,
Well,
but yeah,
is the gore the reason that they didn't show it on TV?
yeah, it is because when they showed it to
Well,
censors, they're like, "We can't show this."
why didn't they just cut it? I mean, if they wanted a TV movie, they could have just edited the gore.
I think Luciano Martino saw that there was some theatrical potential for it. At least he felt that way. So yeah, they got it released in theaters, and it has a totally different name in Italy, as you may know.
What
Its
name is
title in
that?
Italy,
What name is that?
La Casa con la Scala nel Buo. It is the house with the dark staircase. And Lamberto Bava said, "I actually prefer Blade in the Dark. It's a lot better title." In France, it was called House of Terror, La Maison de la Terror, and it is in Mexico and Spain is Cuchillos en la Oscuridad, Knives in the Dark, not a Blade in the Dark.
Oh, well, that's just as
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. So
You know that
it's a knife, it's a blade, whatever.
Tracy Palma brought up the Bob movie that we haven't done on the show, which I know is probably your favorite Bob movie, one of them, Manhattan
Manhattan.
Baby.
He is in it, and that's an episode of the my podcast. I definitely did a Manhattan Baby one. I said this is if you love Lucio Fulci, 90% chance you hate this movie. Nobody really likes Manhattan Baby except me. I feel like I'm sometimes its lone defender.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I hate it. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's lacking like an eyeball scene or something, you know. But
It is a bit more restrained until the end when, spoiler warning, when those birds suddenly come to life and destroy him, man. All those like birds on the wall
Yeah,
suddenly, like for no reason, come back to life.
it has its moments.
It does. It's just not. I mean, Fulci made what, like 6 movies from 80 to 81, and he was already older. So I think he's. I don't think it's the worst Fulci, Paul. Though there's a couple that are worse. Um, Sodoma's Ghost is definitely worse. Um, a lot of his TV
I
movies are
haven't seen that one.
definitely worse. You don't need to see it. But it also feels like in that movie I talked about on the podcast, it's like he's like, "Hey," I'm gonna do my Fulci impression. Can I take an eyeball now? They're like, no, hold on, Lucio. It's cool. You don't need to take an eyeball now. He's like, oh, maybe now we take a girl's eye. Maybe we destroy somebody's brain. No, not yet.
What about Enigma? That's a good one. I mean, I
I
think that's
really
a
like
good comparison to Manhattan Baby, Enigma.
Yeah, I think it's like those ones you can start telling that he's kind of lost
Sorry.
his luster for things a little bit, but there's still parts of them that I really like. I'm such a Fulci defender. I mean, I like Conquest an awful lot, so that should tell you where I'm at. Tracy, why do you hate New York Ripper? I'm interested to hear that.
I
I
bet she
actually
doesn't
like New
like
York Ripper.
Donald Duck
Oh yeah, that's off-putting for some
or
folks.
killers that talk like Donald Duck.
Yeah, this movie, back to A Blade in the Dark. It's got a pretty good cast. I'm never going to be able to pronounce the guy who played Bruno's name correctly. Andrea Ochapinti. He's also in Bolero, one of my least favorite movies ever. He's Angel in Bolero.
Bolero. That movie sucks.
My God. Do you remember
Bolero.
when people were talking about Bolero like it was gonna like it would put you through if you weren't through puberty yet, it was gonna put you through puberty? Like people are like Bolero is I mean, there's never been a sexier movie than Bolero. And then I saw it and I was like, this
It's
is
not
what every
true.
like they had like 4 boxes of it at my store and they all had a big thing, must be 18 to rent. And I thought, someday when I'm old enough, I'm gonna rent Bolero. It it could play on TV. It
Yeah.
is
It was
yeah.
such a letdown. I think that was a movie that me and my friends rented because we thought we were renting a porno, and
Yeah.
it was like so not sexy at all. I mean, as if I
Oh,
was going to
I
get
don't
turned
I
on by Bo Derek anyway. But you had to see
do
something.
you remember there was this time though post 10 that Bo Derek was like I always think of like what is I don't know if it's possible anymore because media is so fragmented, right? But when media was not fragmented, uh it was like there was always like one or two people that were like the pinnacle of you know of where it's at. And Bo Derek was from like what not probably 1979 to 1980. She was like the biggest deal.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she deserved the attention that she got, I guess, over 10. But it was a lot of hype was created by her husband, obviously, and I think that she could have had a better career than she did if she hadn't had that husband. If she had left him, I bet she
Yeah.
would have gotten a lot better movies.
She's really good in Tommy Boy. Actually, she's really funny in Tommy Boy, and she's done well for herself. Um, Tracy, you can like what you like. I'm not making fun of you for not liking New
No,
York
we don't
Ripper.
care that you don't like it.
There's a not a lot of reasons not to like it. So I just am always interested why people don't like it.
So we
But
already expect everybody to not like the movies that we like. So
yeah, exactly. The worst Bo Derek movie is Ghost Can't Do It, which is literally James just brought up literally as I said it. It is
Ghosts
one of
can't
the
do it.
it is when people say what is your least favorite movie? Ghost Can't Do It might be the movie. It's like they should take away any awards Anthony Quinn ever won for being in that movie. It's a really rough watch. Um, yeah. Anywho, but the lead in this who plays Bruno, Bruno is our hero. He's a musician who is composing a soundtrack for a horror movie, and he gets to stay in his friend's place so he can have some solitude and come up with the song for it. If earlier in the movie when they're in the editing room and they're talking about the film and his motivations for it, you can spot Lombardo Bava in the editing room. He is the editor that's running the machine, which is kind of cool.
Why wasn't he
Tony
the projectionist running the evil movie in Demons?
He should have been, right?
Yeah, he should have been sitting in there in a devil costume or something going, wah, ha, 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 ha.
He played the pit. He was the Zit on Rosemary's Face.
Poor Rosemary. She didn't sign on for that, when she put that fucking mask on. Oh, by the way, the screening at Facets went great last night.
Oh, awesome.
It was Demons and Demons 2, both of them at Facets. I did video introductions for both of them. And John McDevitt, of course, was there, and he reported back that they almost sold out, which was really exciting. I'm sorry I keep coughing. I'm getting over a bad cold. I'm sure everyone can tell.
I think everybody's getting over one.
Everybody I know is sick right now. It's so depressing.
Tony in this is Michelle Suave, obviously.
Michaela
He's
Suave.
He's 2 years away from his first job as a director, Dario Argento's World of Horror. But before that, he was in 29 movies as an actor. He's obviously in Demons. He's the cop in Stage Fright. He's Tommy in Gates of Hell, which is the movie that. Yeah, a terrible cop. He's in another movie we showed, Alien 2 on Earth. He's in Tenebrae, Caligula, The Untold Story. He's also a cop in Opera and a cop in The Church. And in Cozy's The Black Cat, aka Demon 6, and Profundus, he is the director of the sequel to Suspiria that Helena Marcos decrees should never be made and destroys the cast. We got to show that fucking movie, Bill. It's something else. Like it's Luigi Cozy's Suspiria too. It's just as good as it sounds. Actually, Suave's just directed an Italian miniseries that just debuted, Blanca. So he's still doing stuff.
Oh yeah,
and he was the second. Yeah, and he's the second unit director for this movie too. But there's a lot of people that you'll see in this that you'll recognize from other stuff. Giuliana Rubini was in Enigma, which we just talked about in Zombie 3. Angela is one of the girls in she's Fabiola Toledo. She was in Demons. Andy Papa is in Sandra. She was in The Great Alligator. Giovanni, who is there's a lot of great alligator crossover. Giovanni is Stanko Millar from Macabre and Antonio Marghetti's Treasure Island and Outer Space TV miniseries, and Keisha, who is Valerie Cavelle, was in Warriors of the Year 2072 and Thunder, one of my favorite movies. And finally, Giovanni Frezzi, who is Bob, is in this, and he has been in. This is the fourth movie that we've shown with him in it, Bill.
Yeah, and we still have to show Manhattan Baby.
Yep. He's also in Demons, New Barbarians, which we showed, and House by the Cemetery. Obviously, that's what he's known for.
We're practically the
Macaulay
Bob
Culkin.
Show.
Yeah, he's the Macaulay Culkin of our show.
With those strange lips. He's got very unusual lips for a child.
And music by Oliver Onions, who did the music for Your Hunter from the Future.
I never miss an Oliver Onions soundtrack. They did Alien 2 as well.
They did. Do you like the weird, like it's called a glass harmonica that plays every time you see a blade? There's like a little like noise. Like every time it shows up, they telegraph the sound of the blade. Can the killer hear the music? And he's like, better pull out my knife.
He hears the music like Laurie hears the music in Halloween 2.
Yeah.
That's how she always knows she's in trouble. Let's do the drink segment because I already poured mine. And I'm
awesome.
Wanting to do that toast.
Jolly.
Oh, jolly. We're making a drink, the Switchblade in the Dark from Blade in the Dark. This is a Switchblade, but I've only seen Switchblades made with cream to cacao, that is light cream to cacao.
You don't have to say it like that.
Okay. But I'm making dark cream to cacao. So we're going to see what it tastes like. It's an experiment in taste that may be a success, may not be. Anyways.
You can take off your gloves now.
I've been
We-
revealed.
The killer.
The killer has been revealed. The killer is among us.
That's the real killer. Eating the cat food.
All right. This one's really simple. 2 ounces of tequila, half an ounce of cream de cacao, half an ounce of that, 0.75 ounce of lime juice, quarter ounce of simple syrup. My beautiful producer and camera person has already put the alcohols and juice and simple syrup together for me. Now, ready? We're getting it going in to this jolly, ready, looking for the killer with a good drink. That's really the only way to go in. I should have made a J&B cocktail. I realize this, but you know what? We're kind of going against the script. And then you just pour this into the glass. Strain it. What a delicate aroma. It's something my dad would drink. And I'd say, can I have some of that, Mitt? No. And then I'd sneak it and I'd be like, today I'm not going to make that face. I'm not going to be like, anyway. You know what we didn't say last week? Pazuzu. So here we go. Switchblade in the dark. That is a success. Wow, this is a drink that I enjoy. This is really good. I totally was like worried about it all week. Why was I worried? Why was I so upset? Anyway, Lombardo Bava, John Old Jr., we're getting ready to watch your movie. Let's enjoy this drink.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
And yeah, I wondered why there was no J&B in this cocktail, but you know, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, because it's called a Switchblade, so that's why I made. Did you make it?
No, I didn't. I just did another vanilla Coke.
I'm double fisting. Look at this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Jeez,
Catching up.
Sam.
I'm also drinking a Three Floyds Arctic Panzer Wolf, which is a 9% Imperial India Pale Ale, and it's really good, but really strong. I'm just excited they sell these in PA now. Three Floyds is from Chicago, and for years you couldn't get it here. They have a zombie dust beer bill that's really good. They have all their stuff's either metal or horror themed, so that's why I started drinking it.
Metal and horror, those two things don't go together.
No, who would think that? Who, I ask you. In the comments, let us know. Have you seen this or not seen it? If you're new to the film, let us know. And when we come back from the other movie, Bill, I had a question I want to ask everybody. What is your favorite giallo movie? Tell us when you come back.
By the way, we should tease next week's movies on the segment before we cut to our film. Next week, we're going to have two special guest hosts, Mike Justice and Uncle Spooky is going to be back. And, are you going to be on the show at all next week, Sam?
No, I will be at a wedding, a fancy wedding that I had to buy a new suit for. So, unfortunately, no.
Well, we were going to be expecting pics, or it didn't have.
Oh, yeah. Becca got a very exciting new outfit as well. So, I'm very excited. I don't know how to tease the movies. I know one. There's no way for me to tease the second one without giving it away.
Yeah. We just won't say what the second one is, but I already showed the trailer for the first one.
Yeah.
Last week. So I teased it 2 weeks in advance. I'm just turning into a teaser on this program. So I'm really excited that Mike Justice and Uncle Spooky will be here in your place.
I'm sad not to be on with them though, because I love those guys.
Yeah. There will be
other
other
I wanted
shows.
I wanted to bring up a couple of the crew members who had some interesting credits. Gian Lorenzo Battaglia was the camera operator for this movie, and he worked on everything. He shot Witchery, The Barbarians, Demons 2, Delirium, Blast Fighter, but he specialized in underwater camera work. So anytime a movie was shot in Italy that had underwater camera work, he shot it. Phenomena. He's the guy that's in that gross pit in Phenomena with
Yeah.
all the body parts. That's him. He shot Screamers, Inferno, all the underwater stuff in Inferno when she's swimming. That's him shooting that. Great Alligator and Popeye, which was shot on the Isle of Malta. He shot that, and he worked on Death Smiles on a Murderer with Joe D'Amato, Bay of Blood, The Devil's Wedding Night, Barren Blood, Hatchet for the Honeymoon, and Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks. He has a crazy. That's not even 25% of his stuff that he did. Thanks, John. And then Stefano Paltieri, he did production design, sets, and costumes all together for this. And he did Nothing Underneath, The Last Shark, Eyeball, Madhouse, and Piranha 2, some of the other films. And the special effects are by Giovanni Corridori. And man, his credits are even longer. Tenebrae, Cliffhanger, all Sergio Leone's westerns under the name John Speed. A ton of anytime he was one of the canon Italy guys. So he did Detective School Dropouts, Camorra, Salome, Hercules, The Berlin Affair, The Assisi Underground. Also did effects for Contamination and Zombie, and built the sets for Zombie and Cinema Paradiso. He did the effects for that. So his bio is crazy. Like there's kind of like if you were good in Italy, you worked on every movie ever. So pretty exciting.
Mandy's taking her son to the Royal Rumble next Saturday, Sam.
Man, I bet on a Royal Rumble every year. That's my favorite pay-per-view because you can kind of just buy. We bet on numbers, and then whatever number you have wins. So it'll be pretty exciting.
Here's some stuff I wanted to show before we go to the next segment. I'll have more for the third, but here's some ads that I've been running on the show, on the page lately, or ones that are just about to come up and you're getting a sneak peek. Some more Mexican horror. Have you seen this movie, Orlok, The Hell of Frankenstein?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Although
I knew you would love it.
up on YouTube, so I can't figure out what they're saying since I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, I speak enough to be dangerous.
Yeah.
Un pequeño, as they say, a little bit.
Anyway, this movie is nuts, and there's a great melting face of horror effect in it. Sort of. It does look like Marty Feldman, Eldon Glenn. Good call.
And there's a Content movie playing with it as well. I thought that was kind of cool.
Here's another vampire series. They had a couple Mexican horror vampire series, and one of them was this guy, Nostradamus.
At least 3 of them played on Chiller Theater, which is kind of cool. And there's a couple American actors that show up in the Nostradamus movies too.
I don't think I've ever seen any of the Nostradamus movies.
I think you'd like them. They're
Oh, I know I
that's
would.
the one I was trying to think of last week where the sound of a piano gets is what defeats him. Like there's like a song from his homeland that defeats him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's
And like if
also
you,
the vampire organ in World of the Vampires.
yeah.
So this was a common theme in Mexican horror vampire movies, I guess. Here's
It's
one.
funny that they invented their own thing though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they had their own lore going that was really interesting.
But isn't that cool though? It's like it's a lot. I don't know. I kind of like that. That's totally different than we would ever expect. They're very influenced, obviously, by the Universal films.
Oh yeah, that's another great aspect of it is that they're clearly like rooted in the Universal horror films, but they take them in these interesting directions. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get used to the comedy. Like
Yeah,
there's an old dark house movie called Bring Me the Vampire, which really you think it's going to be a vampire movie, but it's an old dark house thriller, and it's a comedy, and comedy is difficult to get from another culture. Like sometimes you have to watch it a couple of times to really understand where they were going with some. At least I did. I didn't know what it was the first time I watched it, but it's
Yeah,
got a great universal look to it with like lots of monsters, mansions, cobwebs, and stuff.
Jack Taylor is in the Nostradamus movies. That's who I was trying to think of. Who's in a lot of the Jess Franco movies. He's in one of those guys that's in 2 or 300 movies. You know what I mean? And he hit like every country. But he did those after he left America.
We showed Brainiac.
Yeah. And we showed Grave Robbers too, didn't we?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a more modern Mexican horror movie.
Yeah.
Though, so it wasn't one of the black and white ones.
Yeah.
Espiritismo is another movie that I got on one of those. It was this DVD label that everything that was on it was totally bootlegged, and the copyright violation. They all got recalled. Especially they put out Manson, that documentary from 1973.
Yeah.
Was
Was it Casa? It wasn't Casa Negra, was it?
No, that they were legit. No,
Yeah.
this was like a really super low budget label. I wanted to say that it was called Diamond, but that's another budget label. I'm gonna have to go get one and remind
Good
myself
times.
what label it was. But Spiritism is good too. It's sort of like a monkey's paw riff.
Yeah.
And there is an English dub of that, but I don't see it online. Here's another Nostradamus movie. There were 4 of them, apparently. This
Yeah,
was
they're
the
almost like
Monster
a movie. They're
Destroyer.
very close to a movie serial.
Oh, really?
They're
It's just like
yeah.
one picks up where the other one leaves off?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they're only about like an hour and 10 minutes each. You'll really like them. I think you should definitely check them out.
Night of the
We
Bloody
did
Apes.
show Night of the Bloody Apes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've done a couple of Mexican horror films. 3
Yeah.
so far. Invasion of the Vampires.
I like that one too. And Dustin said we should show the Aztec mummy movies. I'm good with those, and I'm good with any Santo movies as long as Blue Demon's in it. Because Bill doesn't like Santo; he only likes Blue Demon.
Santo is so full of himself. He thinks he's hot. He's not hot. Blue Demon's hot.
Yeah,
World of the Vampires was another. Invasion of the Vampires and World of the Vampires are related. I do know that. But I can't remember what series they're part of. I guess it's like the Vampire's Coffin and the Bloody Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's interesting to see these Mexican films playing in their, because K. Gordon Murray put these out in the States under alternate titles and with different ad campaigns. But this was marketed to Spanish-speaking theaters, and this was the original press book artwork, I guess, for these films.
Yeah.
So seeing these is really exciting. I think we're back to the beginning. Yeah, we are. All right. So anything else you want to say before we get to A Blade in the Dark?
I'm very excited to watch it with everybody. I'm as you know how much I enjoy this movie. So, and it's on. We're gonna watch the one that's on YouTube.
I linked
Correct,
to the
or?
one on YouTube. Yeah, it's on the Groovy Doom Facebook page. One of the last posts, you'll see the link. It's the English dub of the film, and I guess I don't know. Like I think it was Lee said that the version on Tubi was only in Italian, but I checked and there were English subtitles to it.
Yeah,
But
and
this
that's
one,
the Vinegar Syndrome, the new Vinegar Syndrome 4K one.
okay. Well, the one
Is
I
what's
linked to is
this
the
what's
English dub. It's on YouTube. Is that bad? Oh, Sam, you froze. Well, I'm just hoping that the version that I linked to isn't like edited for TV or something, because I've done that a couple of times. So, oh, and Tracy says
what
it's
I will
on.
watch.
Oh, Sam, are you there? Sam has frozen, but there's a ghostly voice every once in a while from him. So anyway, the version on YouTube is the English dub, so you can watch that one. You could go watch it on Shudder. I'm not sure which version is playing on Shudder. And the one on Tubi definitely is the Italian language with English subtitles. So you have your pick. But go check it out, A Blade in the Dark. We'll be back afterwards to talk some more about it and to talk about both of our movies that we're going to be showing next weekend when Mike Justice and Uncle Spooky co-host with us. Here it is, A Blade in the Dark.